students. Today I'm going to teach you a eco poem, Eroded Hills by Judith Wright. In the first half of my lecture, I will be introducing you to Judith Wright, her life and works, and then in the second half I'll be explaining to you the poem Eroded Hills. So, looking into the introduction of Judith Wright, she seems to have contributed a lot to Australian literature as Shakespeare has contributed to England. So Judith Wright is a great poet, short story writer, novelist. She has written a lot of letters, and she has written a lot of poems, like letters, literature, stories for children, and all these things. And there's a lot of biography written about her, and she has also written an autobiography. Her letters are very important. It talks a lot about the people she communicated and steps. Okay. She is also a great philosopher and a spiritualist and an environmental activist. So she is a real life activist. She fought for all sorts of social causes, either for air pollution, water pollution, what not. She tried to rectify all the problems in the Great Barrier Reef, tried to keep it clean. So that's very beautiful about her, and she thought there's a kind of an interconnection between all the living species. Either it is a lichen, that is a kind of a microorganism, or a swamp plant, or something to do with the universe, planet, or human beings. Everything is interconnected and interrelated, and every organism has a right to live and flourish in this universe, and each has something to contribute to the welfare of this universe. So it is she takes a stand that man has no right to harm this any aspect of nature or another human being. She makes it very clear. So, and we find that she finds a kind of develops a kind of a O'Connor says she develops a kind of a love for all aspects of nature. When there is love, it becomes a kind of this protection becomes a kind of a thing for the loved ones. Any kind of endangered species or any kind of aboriginal issues, she takes up for that cause, and she fights for it, and she tries to brings in all these issues, and she tries to rectify the problems. Then next, going through looking at her, she talks about the she thought that the five elements very are very important. Mm? So man, with his anthropocentric attitude, he tries to conquer nature and does a lot of harm for this five elements. Actually, the five elements, like as we see, the water, air, earth, space, and all these things, these elements are found outside as well as within us. We are also made up of that stuff, and we don't have any right to do any harm to it. We are nourished by those five elements. For example, if you take a tree, the tree is nourished by all the five elements, and we get the fruit and we are nourished by those fruits. So everything is interrelated and interconnected in this cosmos, and we need to take care of it. That's very important. She felt that way, and she mainly insisted on self-realization. She thought that self-realization is very important. Self-realization that you should leave away your anthropocentric attitude. Anthropocentric attitude is nothing but looking at earth or a planet as a commodity. She wants human beings to take a biocentric attitude where all human beings are equal, and you have no right to control it or exploit it. And whenever there is self realization, you think that you become very humble in front of nature, and you takes it as you try to preserve nature as though it is a part of yourself. We will not cut our fingers or hands. The same way, if somebody tries to hurt nature, you will also fight for that cause. So, looking into her 11 volumes of poems, either it is moving image or alive or human pattern or bird poems. So, all these 11 volumes, she talks a lot about nature protection, especially the endangered species. She was worried about the planet, and she was worried about the aboriginal issues. She talks a lot about how the colonizers have controlled the aborigines. They are the real owners of the land, but they have been treated like slaves, and many of them were killed, and their cultural spots were destroyed. So all these things, she became very angered her. She reflected all these issues in her poems. And we find that she takes a kind of a person who takes a very scientific attitude, as well as she brings in tradition also. She brings in a lot of culture and tradition in her poems. So now I am going to explain to you the poem Eroded Hills. Eroded Hills is a very beautiful poem. It talks about the major theme as deforestation. So deforestation is caused by her own forefathers. The forefathers, she's from the colonizers' family. They have done a lot of harm to the trees. They've cut down all the trees for the sake of war, to use it in the war and for commercial purpose. Now the land is exposed to all kinds of weather, and it is eroded. So she personifies it as a woman, and she says that it is being stripped and ripped and is naked, and this is the kind of thing, nature seems to be helpless in the hands of colonizers and the exploiters. So we find here the nature is helpless, it is not able to do anything, react to it, and suffers in the hands of the colonizers. And then later in the second stanza, she says how she used to, she's very nostalgic, how she as a child she used to take water and drink in the water, and she was a child who grew amidst nature. She started writing from the age of 10, and she played with nature. She roamed in the forest and fields of Australia. So, she in the second stanza, beautifully Shakespeare, she talks about how she used to enjoy amidst nature, and now it is not giving her any ease, because everything has changed now, because due to this exploited, the colonizers have exploited the natives, their land and things like that. So land is now exposed, and it is eroded. And the last stanza, and she talks about how it is like brings in in the third stanza, we find that nature is all with the clenched fingers, and there's fear in the bandaged land and all those things. Again, it is the personification continues. Nature is a living thing, and how it has been harassed by the colonizers. Now she says that she could see the fear in the eyes of nature, and now she says that she will be she takes a, like, in a metaphorical way. She says even everything goes away, nobody is there to talk for them. Still, she'll be the last person, like standing like a tree, and she'll talk for the rights of these trees and the eroded hills, all aspects of nature. So Judith Wright, though she talks about Australian nature, this whatever she says will apply to the whole universe. Now we are in a real threat of global warming and all these tsunami and other COVID and so many things. So now it is high time we do something to protect our planet. Whatever we do against the planet in the name of science and scientific advancement, it is like sitting on a bow and cutting the tree off, the branch off. So we are in a very dangerous situation, and it is our duty to protect our home, that is our planet. Hmm? So thank you very much.